Today we're making chicken Alfredo pasta bake, and there is 4 simple things that we need to do. We need to cook our pasta, cook our chicken, make our Mornay sauce, and then piece it all together and bake it, getting that nice crusty top. Super simple, super cheap, and it is delicious. So the first thing we'll do is place a pot of water onto our stovetop, whack it over a high heat, and you can chuck on a lid as well just to speed up the process, and we'll let this go in the background. In the meantime, grate 4 cloves of garlic along a microplane to create a paste. You can also roughly chop it, but paste is best for this recipe. If you do roughly chop it, just make sure that it is quite fine because we want it to mix through our roux, making it into our Mornay sauce. An optional ingredient is a little bit of flat leaf parsley. This can be roughly chopped. Not going to give an exact weight for this, it's just a matter of if you have it in the fridge and want to use it. It's only going to be used as a garnish, so it doesn't really matter how much you use. If you are using it though, just make sure that there's no large leaves or stems. For the chicken, I'm using 600 grams or 1.3 pounds of boneless and skinless chicken breast. With it lengthways, slice this into even sized strips. You'll get about 2 or 3 strips. Rotate and then dice into bite-sized pieces. You can also thinly slice it if you prefer. Add the chicken into a large mixing bowl. Add in 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard and 1 teaspoon of dried Italian herbs. Season with a little bit of salt, as well as some cracked black pepper. And you can add a garlic, onion powder, smoked paprika to this, but I feel like I use it so much it deserves a break. Give that all a quick mix around, make sure the Dijon mustard is coating the chicken. And we won't add any oil right now, we'll just add the oil to the pan when it goes to cooking. Otherwise, we'll end up adding too much moisture to this and we won't get that nice color all over. Once the water's at a boil, carefully remove that lid, generously season it with some salt, and add in 400 grams or 14 ounces of any pasta of your choice. I'm using Penne. Give it a mix to prevent it from sticking, and we're going to cook this for about 2 minutes less than the packet instructions, as we are going to be baking this after, so we don't want it to be fully cooked. Now, whilst our pasta's cooking, place a pan over a medium-high heat and get this nice and hot. Once lightly smoking, add in 1 tablespoon or 20 milliliters of olive oil. Add in all of that chicken. Spread this around so it's not sitting on top of one another, and then let this sit for about 2 minutes to build up a nice crust. Mix it all through, make sure nothing's stuck together, and cook this for a total of about 5 to 6 minutes or until fully cooked through, and you have that really nice golden brown chicken. One thing to keep in mind when it comes to cooking chicken like this, if you keep mixing it around too much, you're going to knock too much heat out of the pan, and then that's going to result in all of the moisture coming out of the chicken, and then the chicken cooking in its own moisture or stewing. You don't get any good color, and then your chicken ends up overcooked and rubbery. So after 5 minutes on the chicken, you got that nice color all over. This is cooked through right now, so we can turn it off the heat and then remove it from the stovetop. Once the pasta's cooked, it's nice and al dente, we can turn this off the heat, remove it from the stovetop and then drain it through a colander. And then for our Mornay sauce, we're going to place the saucepan over a low heat and pour in 500 milliliters or 2 cups of full fat milk. And all we want to do with this is warm it. We don't want it to come to a simmer or even a boil. This is just going to help prevent lumps when we're making our bechamel sauce before we add the cheese to then turn it into Mornay. Now, to make a roux, which is spelled R-O-U-X, this is a thickening agent and it's the base to our bechamel sauce. Place a saucepan over a medium heat. Add in 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter and then allow that to melt. And we can also add in our grated garlic. Give this a good mix around, allow that butter to fully melt and break up the garlic. We want to get that nice fragrance throughout the pan. We're only going to cook this for about 30 to 45 seconds, just until that garlic is fully mixed through and your kitchen smells really, really nice. At this point, add in 3 tablespoons of all-purpose plain flour that's been sifted. Then mix this all together. This will start creating that really nice smooth paste. Looks a bit lumpy to start with, but once you mix it around, start creating that roux, which, like I said, is that thickening agent. We're going to cook this for about a minute to a minute and a half, possibly even 2 minutes, just to cook out that flour taste. And then we can start adding in our warmed milk. Also, depending on the application or the recipe that you're making, there is different types of roux. For this one, we're just going to be making a blonde roux, which is a very simple base and clear roux. Also, I like to take this to the point where it starts looking like wet sand, and that's when you know that the flour has been cooked out. Now, with our warm milk and a whisk, we're going to slowly pour this in, not all at once, we're just doing it in small increments, and then just start mixing this around until it's fully absorbed, and then just start adding in the remaining milk. Just going to do this in batches. If you add it all at once, it's not going to mix properly. Also, try your best not to spill it everywhere like I'm doing. So once all of the milk's through, give it a nice mix through, make sure that there's no remaining lumps. This is over a low heat as well, and just keep mixing it around. You'll have this nice, smooth, creamy sauce. This right here is just a basic white sauce or a bechamel sauce before we add the cheese to it to then make it Mornay. Once you're happy with it, add in 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, half a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano that's been grated, 1 1/4 cups of grated mozzarella cheese. Grate in a little bit of nutmeg. The amount here is completely up to you. If you don't have nutmeg, you don't have to do it. And if you don't have a whole nutmeg like this, you can already use pre-ground. Just use roughly 1/4 teaspoon. Hit it up with a little bit of salt to taste. And I'm also using ground white pepper for this, as it mixes through a lot better than cracked black pepper, but you're more than welcome to use it if you prefer. Now with it over a low heat, just start mixing it all together. Allow those cheeses to melt and everything to be fully incorporated. And if at any moment it starts getting too thick, you can add a touch more warmed milk just to thin it down slightly. Just go to the consistency you like. I prefer a nice thick Mornay sauce, but some people prefer it quite a bit thinner. Once that's all done, you should have this nice stringy, cheesy sauce. Just double check it for seasoning and adjust accordingly. All that's left to do now is add it all to a large mixing bowl. So that's the pasta, all of that chicken and resting juices. Just make sure you scrape all of that in. It's all extra flavor. And of course, top it off with that cheesy goodness. Again, just make sure you scrape all of that in there. I am going to add just a touch of cracked black pepper, as I love the stuff. Then start mixing this all together. Make sure everything is coated in that cheese sauce. Make sure none of the pasta is stuck together. And you're going to get all of those chicken juices and the flavor of that chicken going straight through that Mornay sauce, just intensifying that flavor even more. And this already smells incredible. Now into a baking dish, we can use a little bit of spray oil or butter just to go around the edges so nothing sticks. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. And then just start adding everything in. And then we can start compressing this a little bit. Just push it down slightly. Doesn't matter if a few pieces are sticking up anyway, because they're going to get that nice crust on top, which is what we're looking for. But it is better if it's all sitting flat. That way you'll get that nice even crust all over the top. One last thing to do is just add over some more mozzarella cheese. In total, the amount of mozzarella cheese that I've used is about 250 grams. Spread this out so that we get that nice even crust all over the top. I can't help myself with the pepper, so I'm adding a touch more. Put this into your oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 390 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to bake this for about 15 to 20 minutes or until golden on top. You can swap over to the grill or broiler setting at the very end just to get that nice golden crust. So after 20 minutes, our chicken Alfredo pasta bake is done. And we have that beautiful golden crust all over, and this smells fantastic. When it comes to serving up, you can portion this up into however many portions you'd like. Look at that beautiful cheese pull, and then get it onto our plate. You can garnish it with anything you like. I just like to add just a touch of extra virgin olive oil, touch of flat leaf parsley, and of course some cracked black pepper. That then leaves us with this creamy chicken Alfredo pasta bake. The crust on top looks incredible, and this smells amazing too. All that's left to do is we can then dig in. All I can say is that is absolute perfection. The pasta's cooked perfectly. That cheesy, creamy sauce is absolutely incredible. And then that cheese crust on top just creates that nice bit of texture. Chicken's juicy, has released all of its flavors throughout. And then you have that nice little hint of nutmeg, the warm spices, just makes it feel homely. Nice comfort dish. And you definitely have to make this. For the macros, nutrition, as well as the full written recipe, the link is in the description. And on screen right now is a couple of videos YouTube recommends from my channel that you might like. And don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, let me know what you think of this, if you've made it, or what you want to see next. And subscribe if you haven't already.